Hi friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to bring you this video because I like tapping into those things on YouTube where I feel like there's just not enough buzz, not enough talk, or enough content. So here I'm going to be focusing on my 5 top favorite products from Sigma's makeup line. So Sigma Beauty really started out becoming known for their brushes. They have some amazing brushes, many that I use on a daily basis. And if you're looking up information online, I think you'll find a lot of brush videos. But some of their makeup products, especially recently, have completely knocked my socks off, and I think it's time to talk about those and just share a few recommendations with you. I'd love to hear from you as well if you've got any different favorites from me or if you like these too. They've recently kind of redone, refreshed their brow line, and I have one product from that that's really impressed me. I mean, a lot of things have been good there, but there's been one standout, and then I've got another individual product and 3 palettes to mention. I just spit at my camera, I'm sorry. Actually, the first thing I will mention is a palette because it encompasses so much of what's going on my face right now. And this is my new favorite contouring product, face palette, whatever you want to call it. It's the Sigma Sculpt. Now, at the same time this palette came out, they put out a blush palette. Here's the blush, both beautifully packaged. And of course, the blush caught my eye first, right? I mean, I looked at it, I thought, oh, pretty blush shades. And there's a lot of beautiful things happening here. The one thing that I couldn't really get on board with, oh my gosh, yeah, press on nails, baby. This shade wasn't doing a whole lot for me one way or the other, but a lot of these blush shades are so beautiful, and I just kind of used it and enjoyed it. Will continue to use it, but it took me a while to dig into this Sculpt palette. But once I did, I realized just how amazing this thing is. I love the different textures. First off, you're getting 3 shimmers and 3 mattes in here. This shade called Faking It down at the bottom is so nice just for a natural contour, and you'll see some demos popping up here. We're just talking the hollows of the cheeks, creating a naturally shadowed effect. Like, that shade is so good for it. Then as I'm going around my hairline, just to bump up the warmth a little bit, I go to Throw Shade, which is right next door, and I just love the tone of those 2 mixed. I like what that creates on my skin. And you know what, y'all? I can even go into this deepest shade if I want to, because it's just, to me, that is so cool. It creates sort of just a deeper shadowed effect if you want something a little more prominent, but I would use it very lightly on my skin tone. But deeper skin tones, I think, would be refreshing to see something that dark in a contour palette. And if you're really questioning whether you would use everything in this palette, I mean, to me, this is one of the most versatile contour palettes because of the different finishes. It makes it very, like, eyeshadow friendly as well. You've got a great light shimmer here. You've got a couple medium tones, and then everything you would need to create a soft or even deeper crease. So the versatility is totally here, but here is just the cherry on top, the most wonderful thing here. This color called Poppin'. I don't know if you can tell as you look at it in the palette, but it's kind of like a rosy gold neutral type shade, and this is the most beautiful blush. Watch it going on as a blush. A whole level of kind of rosiness, understated, muted rosiness mixed with neutral kind of comes out on the cheeks, and I think it's so pretty. You know, I love a glowy blush, and the fact that it's in this palette makes it so much more versatile to me, because that kind of a shade is going to look good with anything. So if I need like a throw it in your bag and here's a bunch of face steps, like, this is so good. And then it gets even better. This highlight, I had a picture up on Instagram recently. The light was catching me just so. It was this highlight. I love it so much. It's called Shine On. It's a true like champagne-y highlight. It's so pretty, and the texture is so nice. I mean, even looking up close at it, I'm not seeing a bunch of chunky texture, weird metallic. It just sits so nicely on my skin. And then sometimes once I'm done with all those steps, I'll go right into 24K here, which is kind of like a golden shimmer, but it's not at all brassy, it's more bronzy, and I just tap into that and maybe go all over the skin just to warm things up if I want to. But I can easily get use out of all of these steps on my face and my eyes, and I absolutely love that one of them works as a blush for me. And again, the most beautiful highlight. There's so many things going right with this palette, and I don't know that I've heard anybody speak about it. I'm sure some people have. It's just seemed like a very underrated thing to me. Now, the other product that I don't have on, but I think I'll apply it for you just to show you. This is just an individual product. It's called the Aura Powder in Cor de Rosa. This shade is so pretty. It's kind of like a burnt peach, you know? It's that pretty deep, dusty peach. If you'd like to see a little on my cheeks, I'll go ahead and apply it. I just wanted to make sure you could see how everything looked with just that shade from the Sculpt palette as my blush, but this is so perfect. this shade. I could see this looking so good on so many people, and it's matte. So, you know, you can pop this on, get your desired level of color, and then throw on, you know, whatever highlight you want to bump up the shimmer. But it's so pretty. Oh, I love this shade. There are some beautiful bright blushes that I love, but more and more I'm really liking these kind of more dusty shades, things that aren't quite so pure peach or pure pink. I feel like it ends up looking so flattering on the cheeks. That's a beautiful powder. A very little bit goes a long way, and I think that's one of the best products from Sigma. Here's another individual thing let's chat about. From the brow line, I have really liked their skinny pencil. I mean, it's a really good cool tone for me, but there are a lot of other places I can find that kind of thing. But I've really liked this Tint and Tame Brow Gel in the dark shade. This holds so well. It's kind of on another level, and it helps me do something that I've been really liking to do with my brows lately. I mean, it's nice all the way through the brows. It really holds them in place. But I've kind of liked taking my little front section of my brow and kind of perking it up a little more. It kind of shows off the fact that, yes, there are actual hairs there. And something about the overall look just seems a bit more youthful, a bit more, I'm not sure how much you can pick up on it. Just a little more real and alive, you know what I mean? But those hairs naturally do kind of want to lay to the side a bit more. But this can actually hold them in place all day in this position, and I kind of love that. Tremendous hold, some of the best. I mean, I've really liked that L'Oreal Brow Stylist Boost and Set from the drugstore. It's fantastic. I love the little teeny tiny brush. I think that's amazing. But I kind of feel like the hold of this is on another level, so very impressed. Now, two things eyeshadow palette wise. One of them, you guys, I am kicking myself. I did not shoot a demo with it. I was sitting here right in front of my camera doing my makeup. I was listening to my girl Mary Ellen After 60. I was all clued into what she was saying, and I did not like turn on my camera to shoot the demo, so I apologize. I'll make it up to you in a different video. But fortunately, the look was not very complicated, and it's from the Dream palette. This is a fantastic palette that Sigma has done with Beauty Bird. It's a collaboration. Beautifully done here. Large palette, lots of shades on the inside. Also, when Sigma throws in a double-ended brush, you know it's going to be pretty good because you're getting Sigma quality there. You've got a nice, what is that? The E38 and the E58. So more of a flat side and a blending side that you could totally get use out of. Just beautiful. It kind of mimics that marbled look on the outside. But here's something I love about this palette. Now, keep in mind, I don't really discriminate too much between warm and cool shades. I like them both on my eyes, but there is something that I like deep down love about these kinds of tones right in here. And you can get such a beautiful neutral warm look, but I like all of these fun, like kind of jeweled pops that are in here too. Like the teal, the green, the kind of burgundy shade, a purple here. There are a few shimmers like this olive and a couple of golds up in the top where I feel like somehow they apply a little better with the finger because everything in here seems to be super pigmented. The mattes are really, really pigmented. And then there are some softer shimmers that go on kind of just how you'd expect, but there are some others where you might just experiment with the application. I feel like I get a little more smoother, full-on color payoff if I just almost treat it like I'm swatching my eyelid, swatching the shadow on my eyelid. But I'll share with you quickly what I did for today's look. I used this shade called Boo Boo, this kind of medium brown in my crease at first, and then I went to the inner part of my eye with this really smooth highlight shade here. I love that. It's not too metallic, it's just like lightly pearlescent. It would probably be beautiful on the face as well. And I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a lingering cold today. I'm like struggling to get certain words out, but I got that light shade kind of on the inner part of the lid, and then with my finger I took Maya, this beautiful olivey green, and I just kind of swept that over the center part of the lid and then patted on with a flat brush 805 right down here, this deep green. And that really brought a lot of like colorful life to the look, I felt. Did I mention I also have this shade under my brow as a highlight, and then I just used a little bit of Carmelito. This is such a pretty shade. I love the amount of yellow in that. Lightly took that shade just around my outer edge of the look, sort of just to blend everything out. And then I put Tacos and Chill, this matte brown, just on my lower lash line to finish things off. And I love the look. It's kind of everyday just because it's not like super dramatic, but it's a fun little splash of wearable color. And I feel like that's what's in here. I just think it was a really well done, nice quality palette that, again, I don't hear talked about too much. And the last thing that I would like to mention as a great little palette here from Sigma is the Warm Neutrals Volume 2. I had years back, I liked the regular Warm Neutrals palette, but this one, at a glance, you look at it, you think, oh, I've seen a lot of these shades before, but I do feel it's a special combination of things happening here. Let me tell you why. I think instead of just being straight up warm, you've got a few interesting things going on. I love that they put in this kind of like mauve-y pink down here because it completely changes the direction of your look. Instead of going super orangey bright terracotta, which I also like, they didn't really do that here, yet it's still an overall warm palette. You've got this brown up here, this brown here. None of them are like screaming hot warm shades, but the fact that you could set up your look with either of those or this takes your look in a totally different direction. This shade called Russet is kind of plummy. I love that. This After Hours shade looks like a deep brown with almost a splash of olive in it, and Fool's Gold. It looks best if you apply it wet or like over maybe a coordinating cream shadow. That's the one shade in here that's just a little gritty. Everything else is just the smoothest, most wonderful texture. You got some things that are a little more pinky here, a beautiful light cream. This red here called Rogue is amazing. Love, love, love. Your shimmers right here, a golden one, and then something a little more like kind of reddish bronze. It's just a really nice combination of a lot of tones that I really like, and they don't seem that out and out crazy because yes, they are all kind of neutral, but having them all together in this palette, I'm set up to create a lot of looks that I know I'm absolutely gonna love. Like with the reddish shade in here, the plum, the nice medium browns. Love this shade too, this passion fruit color. I mean, there's so much going right with this palette. I did a gorgeous look with it just a couple days ago, but I'm definitely going to be using this more. I really, really love this palette, and the quality is just spectacular. So friends, those are my 5 Sigma favorites. We had the Corda Rosa Aura Powder is what they call that. This brow gel, if you're looking for something serious, I mean, this works so nicely. The Sculpt palette has to be the absolute #1 star of all of this because I love the way those contour powders work. I really like the shimmers in this palette as well. It's a stunning highlight. It's a great blush. And then if you're interested in experimenting with some of their eyeshadow palettes and you just want something kind of small to start with, something that doesn't incorporate too many different loud colors, you might really like Warm Neutrals too. But the Dream palette really gives you that expanded selection of greens and purples and kind of pinky berry shades. So it takes you out of the box a little bit, but gives you plenty of neutral to kind of tie back in. Also a really good black in here as well. So it was my goal with this video to kind of fill the void that I felt was there if you go looking for information on Sigma makeup on YouTube. Here's my info to share. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Oh, I forgot to tell you what's on my lips today. It's the Infallible Pro Matte Gloss from L'Oreal in the shade Statement Nude. Love these. They look kind of matte, but it's all the creaminess, all the comfort, just one of the best drugstore formulas, period. Thank you again, everyone. Hopefully by the next video, I will have totally kicked this cold, and I appreciate your time. I'll see you again soon. Bye.